Welcome to the State of the Buccaneers podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Pfefferkorn, and this is the biggest and only fan-run podcast of the East Tennessee State Buccaneers. We'll get right back to you after the tune. Welcome back to the State of the Buccaneers podcast. It has been a few months since I've recorded an episode. It's been a long time, but a lot has happened since March. I recorded my last episode right before the SoCon tourney, which didn't go well for ETSU basketball in general, men's or women's teams. The baseball team's been cooking, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But it's been a ride. You have spring football as well, and of course I have a new layout. I'm going to be trying some new stuff. The intro I recorded is kind of blurry. I forgot I didn't have the quality control up there. I'm just going to be trying some new stuff out. I switched over from Riverside.fm to StreamYard, which is what we use. Left Turn Cult use it, and the other podcast I'm on, One Shine and Recap. I kind of did a lot of that, recorded a lot of the episodes for that during March. So my focus shifted away from State of the Buccaneers for a little bit. But I'm coming back. I'm going to be recording a lot more content here in the near future as we get into football season. It's kind of been a weird spring. I've had a lot of stuff, been busy with my real job, my 9 to 5, and had a lot of personal stuff. We won't get into it here on this, but it's just kind of been tough to record podcast episodes here recently. But I am getting back into the swing of things. I'm going to get some guests lined up going here into the summer and fall. Lot of exciting stuff happening with State of the Buccaneers and Sectator Media. Yeah, welcome back. I hope some of you all end up watching this episode. But I'm going to get into the swing of things. We're just going to start off by talking about how basketball season ended. It wasn't. I was all highly optimistic going into Asheville that we were going to do good. We had some momentum, beating Mercer, UNCG, Sanford, a lot of teams there at the end. Ultimately, I think injuries just caught up to us, just the lack of consistency on the roster. Of course, the women's team went out to Furman on Thursday, I believe. I'm going to look that up. I think it was Thursday. So that was a disappointing end for them. I'm going to look that up real quick. Yeah, I'm going to look up some scores. It's going to be kind of just getting them in the swing of things. I'll present here real quick. Just share my screen. Let's see. I will once I get this pulled up. ETSU's website pulled up. We went out to Furman here at the end. The women's team went out to Furman on Thursday in a heartbreaking loss. I think they led at some point, but just a disappointing end for the amount of talent they had on that team. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. I'm going to go to men's basketball. we talked about the SoCon awards. Kumari Peterson won SoCon Player of the Year, of course. Going into that game on Saturday in Wofford, or against Wofford, after Friday, there was quite a few upsets. The bracket was looking like it was setting up for ETSU to somehow get to March. And we just, VMI upsets UNCG. Chattanooga loses, has injuries. They get beat by Furman in the later game after us, I believe. I think in Sanford lost as well, I believe. So it ended up being Furman and Wofford in the championship. But that game, we just didn't come out and play like we should. Let Wofford get their threes, played completely opposite of how we played them at their place. Just kind of a rough loss all around. Kumari Peterson had 22. Karan Boyd had 12. Seymour just didn't have a good game. Disappointing end for him. I know he was injured at the end there. But I'm proud of the team. Bugs was out as well. He came back for the Wofford game, but he clearly wasn't himself there at the end of the season. Just kind of a disappointing end to we had a pretty good season, 19-13, a winning record. We're starting to get momentum back. Wofford ended up going to the NCAA tournament. In that game, they were led by Jackson Silvis and Granny Shot, Kyler Filowich, Dylan Bailey, Corey Tripp. They just outshot us 11 threes to our 7. That's ultimately where the game was won in the free-throw line as well. They shot 19. We only hit 13 of 22. They hit 19 of 30. Also, they out-rebounded us by 12. So didn't get much going outside of Q and Karan's couple of baskets. So just the overall disappointing end to a good season. We battled through injuries all year. But there's not much else you can say. Just kind of, just one of those years. But I think we'll bounce back. Brooks Savage has the team. He's a good coach. Knows how to get talented guys. So we'll kind of get into that here in a minute. I know I kind of, after that let down that weekend, I kind of shied away from recording for a while. I was going to do a season recap, but never got around to recording it. Just kind of being busy with the One Shining Recap podcast. We kind of, after that, of course, as the name of the game is nowadays, the portal opened. We weren't affected too much, although Q, he had an extra year of eligibility with the COVID years and JUCO years. Actually, it was from the JUCO years, the Diego Pavia ruling. And of course, I don't blame him for following the money, but I wish he would have stayed another year. Could have easily become one of the all-time greats. I mean, he is an all-time great at ETSU in his 2 years, but could have got up there with some of the all-time ones. But he ended up going to Washington, who had one of the better portal classes in the nation. They picked up a lot of talented guys. They picked up Ognosovich from Lipscomb. I believe that's how his name is pronounced. A couple Wesley Yates from USC, among others. We also lost Karan Boyd to the portal. He went to Wichita State. I wish he would have stayed as well. Good defense. He was the defensive player of the year for us. So we lost two of our big key contributors. Brandon Crawford entered the portal. Jaden Seymour graduated. Roosevelt Wheeler graduated. I believe. I'm not sure who else we get back. A couple guys entered the portal. I don't think they have any eligibility left. John Buggs. He entered the portal. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he has any, because there's any eligibility left, because I know a lot of guys with no eligibility left were entering the portal just in the hopes of getting a waiver. But I don't think that's going to happen. We just saw this week with Zakai Ziegler at Tennessee entering, or he got his waiver denied. He sued to try to get his fifth year, but he did not get it. So I don't think most of these guys, the rest of the guys that entered the portal, I know Davion entered the portal as well. I think that was it for portal entries. Gabe Sisk stayed. We get Gabe Sisk back. I believe we get Alan Struthers back. Mekhi Johnson. I'm not sure who else is left. Stayed around. I believe that's the only three we still have on the roster. But yeah, after that, all those portal entries. Going to go to news. Just kind of discuss some of the new people have come in. We're going to just talk about some of the portal players ETSU picked up. The first of these was Jalen Smith, who is a valued contributor at North Florida. He played guard. He's 5'11" guard. He's a rising junior from Florida. He averages 11.4 points per game, 2.1 rebounds, 5.7 assists, 1.3 steals. He was a pretty underrated pickup to get a guard that averages that much at the mid-major level. He had 181 assists last year, ranked sixth. He led the ASUN in assists per game, so he's going to be our primary playmaker after Q leaves. So he'll be Q Amari Peterson replacement, although those will be big shoes to step in for. So, yeah, that was our first contributor that we picked up. We added Blake Barkley. He's a transfer from Northwestern, 6'8" forward. He didn't play much for Northwestern. He's kind of a more raw prospect. He's from West Virginia, the same as Mekhi Johnson. So he's from Morgantown, West Virginia. He was at Putnam Science Academy in Connecticut. He redshirted his freshman year. And last year he only played 12 minutes as a redshirt freshman. So we'll see how he does. I know a lot. He had a massive list of like mid-major schools coming after him. Everyone in the book you could name him had offered him out of the portal. So he has a lot of potential to grow into something here. And I think that is that's a solid contribution. Solid pickup for us. We added Brian Taylor II from SIU Edwardsville, who made the NCAA tournament this year. He is a 6'4" guard from St. Louis, Missouri. He has 1 season left of eligibility. I think he's going to be our starting shooting guard. If I had to, well, maybe not starting. because of Mackay, but he may be our starting at the 3, filling in there. But last year at SIU Edwardsville, he averaged 11.9 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, 2.9 assists. He shot 45% from 3, 49% overall from the field. He was second team all OVC, so he'll be a valuable pickup. I'm really excited about that one. We got another transfer from Murray State, Jordan McCollum. He is a 6'8" transfer from Murray State. Has a lot of upside. He didn't play much at Murray State. He is from Harriman, Tennessee. He played at Huntington Prep alongside Mackay Johnson, so there's probably some inroads there. They got him interested in the program, sort of that pipeline. Last year he only played in 5 games and didn't average much, so we'll see how he does. We added another transfer from Elon, Braden Crump, 6'8" forward. So it says Brooks Savage says wanted some mobility and motor from front court players. I think they added him for his rebounding, pick and roll, pick and pop. He's from North Carolina. He played at Elon. Last year he averaged 4.4 points per game, 3.1 rebounds, 45.4 per. He averaged 45.4% from the field. Didn't shoot great from 3. We played Elon last year. I don't remember him. He had 6 points and 9 rebounds against ETSU. So he'll be a valuable bench pickup if I had to guess. Cam Morris, the third from UMass Lowell. I never pronounce that right. Always have a tongue twister there. 6'8" transfer forward from the Riverhawks. He has a high. Brick Savage says he has a high motor and energy. Can play above the rim as well as make threes. He scored 758 points and 437 rebounds in 88 games. He averaged 8.6 points and 5 rebounds a game. I say he might be a starter next year if I had to guess. If I had to put my odds on somebody of these transfer forwards that's going to start, I'd say he's probably going to be in the starting lineup next year. Okay. I think this may be the final pickup. I may be missing somebody, but we also added Milton Matthews from Florida A&M. He's a big-time shooter. At Florida A&M, he has 1 season of eligibility remaining, averaged 14.7 points per game, 3.4 rebounds, 1.7 assists, shot 37.3% from 3 and 41.6% from the field. So he averaged. He also played at NAIA St. Thomas in Florida, and he scored over 1,000 points there. But yeah, another big valuable scoring pickup. I know sort of Savage's approach is a lot different than what he went after last year, which is a lot of size. I think he's trying to go for more up-tempo style of play next year. Just the pickups he made with a lot of guards, a lot of wings, a lot of smaller forwards that can shoot and attack the break. So I like the portal pickups. We didn't get the big man that we needed, but I mean, if we're not going to get a good big man, the portal pickups last year didn't really do much for us at the end of the season. We just weren't getting much outside of DJ Hughes from the big man position. I just think we're trying to go with a more balanced attack this year. Since I don't think we'll have the star power we did with Q and Jaden Seymour. Those two first teamers, absolute ETSU legends in their own right. But it'll tough to replicate that scoring. So we'll see how it goes. But I like the pickups. I do like the pickups. We will see how the team chemistry comes together because we only bring back the three guys, Mackay and Gabe Sisk. We'll see how their progression goes. They may, depending on how much they progress, they may be the starters. We will see sort of how that rotation works. We have a lot of guards now. I think the starters day one will be if I had to guess, I would say probably Jalen Smith, Mackay Johnson, Bruce Taylor, probably Cam Morris and Blake Barkley. If I put my money on people at the moment, that's probably the five I would go with. We'll see what Savage end up going with as we get closer to basketball season. But yeah, that's it as far as transfer portal news. We did have a staff change for next season. Assistant coach Brian Jones, his son Jackson Jones was a walk-on team. He also left. I think he was following his dad back. I forget if he graduated or he fully left. Or just entered the transfer portal. But Brian Jones, he returned to Bradley after his 2 seasons here under Savage. I think he just decided he wanted to be closer to home. Not a massive loss by any means. He's an experienced coach. We'll see how it changes. Savage elevated Corey Dixon to assistant coach alongside Chris Arkenberg and Marcus Belcher. Corey Dixon was sort of the fourth guy on the bench for Savage the past 2 years. Just elevated him. Says Blake Sexton will continue in his role as assistant coach and director of operations. We also added who else? We added someone else. We added 2 new staff members, assistant coach Miles Lester. He was a player at Wake Forest under Savage. Served as a graduate assistant for Kelvin Sampson at Houston. So that was a big addition for the Bucks. Just a minor retooling. You always assistant coaches. I mean, it changes. It changes year by year. You kind of get to see a different approach each time. But yeah, that's kind of all the news on the basketball side. I'm excited to see where we go from here. It was a disappointing year. Had some good memories. Can't ask for much more at the mid-major level if you're not in the tournament. So yeah, open for better things next year. But yeah, go Bucks. And I know all the players, we appreciate you. Don't think the fans are negative. We're disappointed, but you're always Buccaneers. You're always welcome to come on this podcast. Yeah, just I'm proud of all y'all. Gave in your effort. For a team. I'll say that for any player, any guy that reps ETSU and stays the course, doesn't and represents ETSU in a positive light. But yeah, that's all I've got for basketball news. So I'm going to transition now into probably the biggest news, probably the biggest sports moment at ETSU this season. Of course, that is the baseball team. I had an excellent year in baseball. I'm not a huge baseball guy, but I've been keeping track of ETSU baseball this whole season. Just seeing the amount of home runs and scoring they did. Yeah, it was a crazy year for ETSU basketball. Not baseball. I'm still in the basketball mindset. Baseball, just kind of they had a season to remember. This might be the greatest year of ETSU baseball in history. They ended up finishing at was their final record. I'm pulling it up right now. Final record got above 40 wins, 41-17. Just a wild, crazy year. Dominated in SoCon play. Ended up being, well, didn't really dominate, but SoCon's always a good baseball league, but ended up winning the regular season championship. Played a lot of great teams tough. Played Georgia tough earlier in the season. Number 4, they were number 4 at the time. Only lost by 2 runs. Almost beat Virginia Tech. Lost to them by 2 runs. Went to Pittsburgh and won a series. The biggest win, of course, was on a Tuesday night back in March against, this was right after March Madness. ETSU baseball upset Tennessee baseball in how many innings was it? 10 innings. We went to extra innings. That was such a stressful watch. I thought we were done for. But Tennessee, number 1 at the time. What a program-defining win. Just to say that you've arrived as a baseball team to beat the number 1 team, regardless. Regardless if it was a midweek game for them, still, you got to come out and play your best against the SEC team. They're deep. They have the pitching. They have everything. And just a classic game. Grant Gallagher hit the game-winning home run. Insane double play. I kind of missed it. I was watching it in a restaurant, and my phone died while I was driving home. And I got my phone plugged in and charged. And, when I got home, ETSU had beat Tennessee. While I was driving down the road, I about wrecked my car listening to the game. What a big win for them. But even bigger, in the SoCon tourney, the team, they had some turmoil. First game against Western Carolina, they got down early, had a lot of errors. But they came back in a shootout, absolute baseball shootout, won 16-13, a football score. Then they beat Sanford on Saturday, 14-8. And then in an instant classic on Saturday. I didn't get to watch much of this because I was at the Indy 500. I was following on my phone a little bit. But ETSU beat Sanford in a instant classic to get to the NCAA tournament. This is the first time since 2013 that ETSU's made the tournament. ETSU baseball has been up and down, but Joe Panucci, he has righted the ship. They've been on an uphill climb since he took over. Forget what year he took over. I think it was 2019, but I could be wrong. 2018 or 2019, somewhere in there. they've kind of been consistent, have a consistent program, been building a consistent program. But yeah, what a great year for ETSU. Probably our best year ever, even above the years in the 80s when they went to the NCAA tournament. Just the amount of hits, home runs, instant classic games. Their struggles in the pitching room, it wasn't very deep, but we did what we needed to against Tennessee and in the SoCon tournament. Unfortunately, it ended prematurely in the first round of the baseball tournament. On Friday, following Friday, we got skunked by Louisville, who of course made the College World Series. Lost 3-8, and I mean, there's not much you can do there. Losing to Wright State sucked. That we probably should have won that game, knowing what we did all year. But I mean, Wright State, they upset number 1 overall seeded Vanderbilt, who had done great things all year. They got upset by Wright State. That's the insanity of the College World Series. Any given day, a team can go down. But yeah, it's tough losing that and then afterwards having some of your best players go in the portal. Of course, Travis Frederick, he's a Knoxville native going to Tennessee. Okay, whatever. Go ride the bench there at Tennessee. But yeah. And then Grant Gallagher and I believe someone else, I forget who else entered the portal. There's one other guy that entered the portal. I'm blanking on his name right now. I'll look it up. So ETSU's gonna have to do some retooling. The two key things. Joe Panucci is still around as ETSU's baseball coach, and our pitching coach could have taken a job at Stony Brook, where Joe Panucci came from. No, not. I forget if it's our hitting or pitching coach. Hitting or pitching coach stayed around. So yeah, at least we got the same staff. And that's the name of the game in college athletics nowadays. Your best players go to we're a developmental league for. That's so stupid. Such a stupid concept. I think that NCAA or someone needs to institute rules to balance the level of the playing field. Just balance it any way possible. I don't care if the power schools don't like it. We need to balance the playing field ASAP. But yeah, that's all I've got for baseball. I don't know how much else I can say. Like I said, I'm a baseball guy, so I don't know the intricacies. I'm not really a baseball guy, so I don't know the intricacies. I can tell you a few things, but it's never been my favorite sport. I'm more of a football, basketball, auto racing type of guy. But yeah, historic season for ETSU baseball. Hopefully we can get back sooner than like freaking 11-year gap, 12-year gap in NCAA tournament appearances. So yeah, I guess we'll move on to football. There hasn't been much. We had spring football, had the spring game. We will see. Let's talk about the spring game briefly. I probably won't go on for too much longer. I'm going to talk about the football stuff here, kind of do my closing remarks, and then get off because the NASCAR race in Mexico City is probably already started, as I've said this. But yeah, the football. Let's go to the spring game recap. It was a rainy day for the spring game. I think they had it the same day as the NASCAR race at Bristol. Believe so. No. Oh yeah, no. It was on a Friday night, and I was going to the truck race at Bristol. It was cold and raining out that night. So those of you that went to the spring game, shout out to you all. But it says I didn't get to watch too much of it, but it says the offense triumphed 41-35 over the defense. It drizzled all day, but it kind of cleared up in the later in the evening. Says the defensive side of the ball got out to a hot start. Of course, it was cold out. Turned the offense over first possession, recovered a fumble. The first touchdown of the game was a 2-yard pass from Jacoby Criswell from UNC to redshirt freshman running back Chauncey Felts. Says Chauncey Felts. A lot of our running back room is going to be new to me, especially since a lot of them graduated. You got 13 players tallied carries. Jalen King, who left the team. That's one of the news points. He went to I think he went to Florida State as a walk-on, which is kind of crazy to me. I know Baylor Hayes followed Trey Lamb to Tulsa, whatever. He's not an FBS level QB, so he'll just be the fourth or fifth string guy there, unless there's something crazy going on. But freshman quarterback Jackson Bird, Caden, we saw the passing game. There's 22 all QBs combined to pass at 22 of 33 passes for 240 yards. Had a 91-yard touchdown from graduate quarterback Cade McNamara, who's looking like he's the early favorite to start for us. Based off spring football, a lot of what people have said, and people have gone out to spring practice. I may have to go out myself for some of these practices later on. Said Caden McNamara has gotten the most snaps. We'll see how that goes. The offense totaled 393 yards. Jackson Bird led the final game-deciding drive. He stayed around after Lamb left and committed to Will Healy. So we got that at least. Travion Watson caught the 29-yard pass to set up inside the red zone. And then Felts ran up the middle. So decent game. There's a few players mentioned in here. Obviously, you can't tell too much from the spring game. You can see people's physical attributes. You don't know how inside the team everyone's clicking because it's not full-on competition yet, at least, against other. It's just measuring yourself. It all depends on how good you are as a team based on what you see on the field. If that makes sense. Hopefully I'm not confusing anybody. Like you're just measuring up against yourself pretty much. But yeah, that's all for the spring game. There's a couple big coaching news, slash general athletic department news that came about. Kerryon Johnson joined the staff. Shout out to Travis and William Luke, both Auburn guys. He played running back at Auburn and went to the NFL, played on the Lions for a little bit. So that's a name a lot of people are going to recognize. There's a lot of talented guys in our coaching staff. I will say that. Just a lot of experienced team. I think our staff might be better than last year overall. He joined the team as the running backs coach. He was on the staff at North Alabama for the past couple years. He was the running backs coach for them last year. Pretty big pickup. I'm sure that name will have a lot of weight in certain rooms, with certain recruits. So it gives us validity. Not that our running back room ever needed it. We've been great at running back for like almost 10 years at this point. We've always had good running backs since the program has come back. The last bit of news, it's a general overall news. David Blackburn, who was on, he was promoted. He's been around the athletic department, David Blackburn, the football program specifically, but he was appointed to the general manager of revenue sports, sort of like the NIL GM. He's the first GM for ETSU. He's sort of like the guy that manages the NIL budget, and make sure players are getting paid, make sure everything is running smoothly. Giving coaches, I think this is an amazing move for us, to just support our whole athletic department 100% more. Work closely. I'm just reading the article. As the general manager of revenue sports, he'll oversee name, image, and likeness NIL, of course, agreements and revenue share and operations. Chief liaison to agents, student athletes, and all the other associated parties, and a direct representative between the coaches and the players and the university at large. So that's a great thing. We need to be on top of NIL, especially as a mid-major, because we're getting our players snatched left and right. Let's be real. There's any way we can somehow just pay our guys, retain talent on the field. Us as an athletic department, we could position ourselves to survive this crazy environment we're in. We've already seen it with like smaller schools. There's been a couple. We've already had one school drop out of D1 because they didn't want to step up to the plate, or they didn't have the money to. With St. Francis in Pennsylvania, one of the smaller schools, enrollment size, and endowment, and in a small town too, so they didn't really have like a community behind them. They've kind of dropped out of D1 because they were like, yeah, we're not going to survive. But having this position, I think this solidifies us as one of the better, most proactive ADs in the mid-major level. That's about all I had for football. I'm sure there's a lot of portal and other guys joining. I haven't had time to put a list together. I just wanted to get this episode out there for everybody that's worried or has been wondering where I'm at. I think that's about all I have for y'all today. Went about 45 minutes. Usually that's about how long I go with no guest here on the program. Worn out. Let's see if I can add a background. Let's see if I can put this up on the screen or not. It's my old outro. Okay, I can't add it. think that's all I've got for y'all tonight, or today, rather. Go enjoy your Father's Day with your families, with your dads. Um, and so, yeah, I'm just wanted to plug my, not my podcast, but just plug a few things before I get off of here. The first, of course, go follow State of Bucks on Twitter, Instagram, subscribe on YouTube. Of course, we're part of a bigger family podcast. A lot of we got Sectator Media. It's kind of a family podcast. We got, of course, One Shining Recap, which we're kind of off season right now. Once basketball season starts back up, we'll start recording some of those. And then you got, well, not really LTC anymore, but Rose 1 through 10 and a few others. But go follow Sectator Media on Twitter. You can get all kinds of podcast updates, find content that is for you. So yeah, go follow them on Twitter. Last thing I want to do, go to Bucks for Good. Donate. We want to get some NIL for our student athletes and make sure we're keeping them around. Go donate. But yeah, we are going to, I think that's all I have for tonight. But anyways, before I get to the outro, Godspeed, go Bucks, and good night. Gonna go play here real quick. Sorry, it's not going well.